Justajolt here. Oh look, it's a box of candy. Rare candy. Good heavens, it's an Alphasquawk in the flesh. And these cheeky little grey bits snap in just there. And so actually, that's much better than the Spectre. Good job, Hasbro. I'm curious to see what's inside this now. As well as looking sleeker on the outside, there must be something more interesting going on the inside, and I'm going to find out what that is. Anyway, I think it's about time we opened it up. So I've just undone all the screws and I've realised the critical schoolboy error I made. Putting this in. This bolt snaps onto the sled and does not come off again, which means that basically I'm going to struggle opening the blaster now. This is not a modder-friendly blaster. I think this bit at the end here is even solvent welded together. It's hacksaw time! So I've stuck some duct tape around there to stop any of the bits from getting into the internals, and I'm just going to hacksaw this bit off and this bit off. Hasbro, you're very naughty. In the end that was too much of a headache, so I just went straight across. A Brit Nerf Hasbro, and I will not be denied entry into one of your blasters. I didn't choose the thug life, guys. And here we have the internals from front to back. Completely empty, faux barrel right there. Fit for removal, probably. And this is interesting. These little tactical rail nodules here are no longer secured with springs. That one doesn't have a spring either. Another interesting thing, this bit at the end comes out. And goes back in. And just comparing it actually with what we've got going on in the Spectre, there seems to be a little bit of difference. That's right, just snap this bit into your blaster so we can lock it permanently. This is really interesting. This bit here is solvent welded, but it just lifts completely off the end of the blaster. Now, I'm going to put this to one side. I'm going to put the top of this back on. Does that shape remind you of anything? Impact. Zone. Seriously, just put white where there's orange and orange where there's white, and I see what you did there, Hasbro. Handguard comes off likewise. So pulling the bolt sled back, if I could just do this without it all popping out all over the place, compresses the spring in this plunger tube. The bolt sled then clicks into place on this bit here, and obviously I'm not going to be able to do that with the blaster open, but the bolt sled clicks that and holds that downwards. This then moves, whoops, this then slides down, compressing that. A pull of the trigger, a pull of the trigger pushes this further down, releasing the bolt sled, allowing it to rush forwards and pump out a dart. What's making the difference in this blaster is the reduction in dead space compared to this one. Now this one, you see the black line from the plunger head is just there. That one, the black line from the plunger head is appearing through the plastic just there. So there's a lot less dead space in that blaster. Quick video of the mechanism itself without the orange behind it so it stands out a bit more. And this, by the way, lifts straight out, no unscrewing. Good heavens, this is some kind of a serious video. Yeah, enjoy it, doesn't happen very often. Sure enough, the AR's just there, being held in with a spring. You get the idea, you've seen this sort of thing before. Not going to bother going through this clutch system here because it's the same as on any other blaster with a rotating barrel. Any other modern blaster at least. This little hat on the end here allows the clutch mechanism to disengage when this button's pressed so that this can flip out. Now I can't tell with my eyes if this spring, which is the Alphahawk spring, is actually thicker than that one, but it does look like it's been kind of pre-stretched. So those old mods to the Spectre where you simply stretch out the spring, Hasbro's kind of thought of that already and pre-done it for you. Plunger heads look comparable. The front part of this barrel is the same as the front part of the Spectre barrel, albeit with a slightly larger hole there. The rotation mechanism on the Spectre is stopped between each shot by this little kind of springy ball thing. I don't know if you can see this little springy ball. This little ball thing kind of falls into the holes where the screws are, which kind of stops it between shots. This one, however, if you have a look at this little mechanism operates by the trigger. When you pull the trigger down, when this spins and the trigger's pulled, that will stop it in place. The back of the Accustrike barrel is a little bit different to the back of the Spectre barrel. As a result, the stock Spectre barrel doesn't simply drop into that. Only 2 screws in the back of this, as opposed to 5 in the back of this. However, this unit seems to be solvent welded together. And the front bit simply comes off there. Drop barrel mod should be possible, but there's no immediate compatibility with the Spectre barrel. Even though I can't get a proper look at the dart post, you can see that the old streamline style dart doesn't even get all the way down the dart post, even though you're pushing. If we take a little look there at the Elite dart and at the Cush dart, there's a little gap at the top of the Elite dart, which suggests that it's actually the extra thickness of this Accustrike dart which makes the difference in terms of engaging that AR. And I think it's that dart thickness that leads to occasional misfires. Granted, a similar thing does happen with the strong arm, but it happened with such regularity with the Alphahawk that I find it a bit concerning. I've seen quite enough of the inside of Spectre type blasters for one day. Always a massive relief to put a blaster back together again and find that it still fires. So here are my conclusions about this fine beast. Take-home messages are: Hasbro have basically done the sensible thing. One of the first mod guides I've seen for this involved stretching out the spring slightly and cutting down on dead space. I think it was Drac who did that. And that's what they've done here, stretched out the spring slightly and cut down on the dead space. I am not a massive fan of the faux barrel because way too many Cushes and Elite darts seem to get trapped. Part of the reason for this bit being here on the Spectre is because when this is primed, it comes all the way out to there. Here though, the mechanism seems to be a bit shorter. On a personal level, Hasbro, thanks for not including springs for me to lose when I put these back in. My favourite thing about this blaster though is taking this off and pretending it's a long arm. Finally, if you're desperate for a long arm but they don't sell them in your area, you know what to do. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this whistle-stop tour of the innards and workings of Nerf's brand new blaster. This is Justajolt signing off to pretend that his Alphahawk is a long arm. I got a Doomlands Impact Zone long arm with accurately striking darts. Oh yeah! Thanks very much for watching. Please like and subscribe.